Hi everybody, welcome to the 25th episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast, still going strong. We have some stuff to talk about. The Euro Club Cup finished, the US Championships are running, some cheating news coming out of Norway. But of course, let's get to the most important topics first. Peter, how was your golf today?
It was pretty good, actually, because, well, I normally play from the yellow tee, but I decided to go to the red tee. And I think, now they have the gender-neutral names for it, but it used to be called the women's tee. But from there, my distance fits perfectly. So now I cut the corners, I play extremely well. So I had an amazing round of golf today. I lost many fewer balls than I used to do, and I had a great score. But of course, some might point to that I'm cheating. But, we will debate that later. Then I stopped coughing as well. I bought a new television, so I can follow Danish election. I can follow chess, football, and stuff like this. So generally, doing well on all fronts.
Sounds amazing. And we know in the Chicken Chess Club we shouldn't lose too many balls. There aren't that many to begin with. So congrats on that progress. Thank you. Laurent, how's life? Where are you? Secret location?
Not at all. Not unlike you. I am always giving my location. Okay, even if you do at the end of the day, but I have to insist quite a lot.
Of course.
So I'm in Paris. I was commentating the whole week, the European Club Cup with Paul Botta, Peter Svidler, and Laurent, the future chess boxer. That was what. It's, in general, one of the most interesting tournaments of the year, in my opinion, because many different players, many interesting players, of course, with Magnus Vichy, we'll talk more about it, and also some teams, so there is always something going on. And that was, I enjoyed the time, actually. I enjoyed it because the format is interesting, and that was my first time, actually. That will shock you, Jan. But that was the first time I was commentating with Peter. He's a pretty strong player. So I learned a lot, actually. He's very, very sharp. And, I had a good time.
Do you learn stuff? I never learn anything. I just, here's a position. Peter, tell us 15 lines that come to your mind. Show us your brilliance. And then I think of some stupid joke.
Yeah, okay. No, I learned some stuff, yeah. Even in openings, actually, I was a bit surprised at times. I thought he knew less, but yeah, okay.
If you learn stuff from Peter in openings, some shots fired, then maybe Magnus should really rethink what kind of help he's enlisting.
No, but in some I mean, Trent is funny because when there is some very offbeat line, that you never saw in your life, that nobody plays, then he knows everything about it,
No, it's in his course. 1F4, 1 Knight C3.
Oh, yeah, 1 Knight C3, exactly. This Joe Bava system, he knows everything about it. So, overall, many good games, and actually a lot of fun to comment on this tournament. Really,
I'm glad you had great fun.
How about your week, Jan? How was it? Where were you?
My week was great. I left my very, very secret location, traveled back home for 2 days. Now I'm in Spain. We traveled for 16 hours yesterday, arguably. There should be quicker ways to Spain, but not for us. So I'm in Spain, in the Fishers village. I grew up, back to the roots. Les Cases d'Alcanar.
Okay.
The problem is no great internet here.
So this week you are giving your exact location, just to make sure you are compensating from last week, yeah?
No, I lied, actually. I'm currently in Alcanar, and I told you I'm in Les Cases d'Alcanar, because Les Cases d'Alcanar is a somewhat flashier location. It's at the beach.
Okay.
But yeah.
Guess very few people has clue about that. Yeah. So you are just planning some holidays, family holidays, yeah? As far as I...
This is going to be great podcasting. The people really want to know. Yeah, I'll be here for 5 more days. Then I'll go to Barcelona, where I'll do commentary on the first 3 days of the, the next Champions Chess Tour, where all the kids are playing. Almost all the kids. My boy Vincent Keimer is playing. There is Abdu Satorov, Gukesh, Pragnananda, I think Eric Gacy, Magnus Carlsen. So it's going to be a fun new round of Magnus versus the kids. Then I'll travel to Thailand. I have to be a little early for the Thailand Open to get rid of the jet lag. Very important to be a little early.
That's the highlight of the year, yeah?
Always, always.
Okay, let's move on to this European Club Cup.
Novi Bor won.
Yeah.
Congrats.
They won all their matches. They were so impressive. They even won some matches. Like against Superbet, they won 4.5. Then the next day, against another top team, I think it was Viernheim, they won 4.5, 1.5 again. Without, and it's this kind of match. You are checking after 2 hours of play. I mean, it's pretty clear they are going to win. You don't know how much. But that was super impressive. And actually, they were almost champion with 1 round to spare because that's such a good tiebreak. But anyway, they beat the French team of Anières with MVL. They won in the end. Yeah, they won 3.5 because MVL lost to Hare Krishna and El Niño Anton beat Mathieu Cornet. So yeah, very, very impressive. And FIDE 6 out of 6, 6 out of 7. That was great achievement from them. Very impressive.
So Novi Bor, a lot of strong players. No top 10 players, as Emil pointed out. Their lineup was Hare Krishna, Vidit, our friend Wojtaszek, David Navarra, I think, was on the team, David Anton. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. So very, very strong.
Markus Rager.
Equal team, no? Rager was there, yeah.
I mean, like, Rager, they had a very strong bench, actually. Rager played only 3 games. Niels Gandelius, they had this guy, Nguyen, who only played also 3 games. He played very poorly the first few games, and then they decided to bench him. Even Rager was on 2.5 out of 3, playing well. But, other guys were playing so well that they didn't need to put him on the list that often. So, yeah, very... no big star, as Sutowski pointed out. I'm sure we will come back.
Shots fired at Vidit by, no top 10 players.
Yeah.
And Sutowski... Okay. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Peter.
No, I just wanted to ask, you mentioned our friend Wojtaszek, but Wojtaszek, I mean, I have been working with him for many years in Team Vichy, but I wasn't aware that you and Laurent knew him in particular. For instance,
I discovered Radek. I put him on the Hamburg Chess Club team. I said, Radek, you young boy who's no one ever heard of, please play on the first board. I will generously play on board 2, give you the first board. There he makes a draw against Vichy in the year 1992 or whenever that was. Vichy discovers him, takes him, introduces him to you, and now you're going to take credit? He's ours, our Hamburg boy, Radek Wojtaszek.
I spent 1 year sitting next to him in a small room in the outskirts of Frankfurt. I think that sort of...
I didn't. I usually made quick draws. I spent like 3 hours sitting next to him in 3 Bundesliga seasons.
You put him on board 1 and then you left for Baden-Baden, no? Or
yeah, that's all true. But we had some years together for Hamburg.
Yeah.
And I can...
Also, Radek is also in Baden-Baden.
That is true.
I don't know, and I must say I don't know him particularly well, but I always had a very friendly relationship with him, and always a pleasure to meet him, to talk a bit. And he's a very friendly guy, so I will also call him our friend Radek. I mean, I don't have any problems with that. On the contrary,
in Team Vichy we were like 4 people: me, Kasim, Ganguly, and Radek. But we would normally work in pairs, 2 and 2, and it was mainly me and Radek working together. So we have spent 8 years together cleaning up any kind of area.
So he was your favorite in the team. Who was your favorite in the team? Your favorite colleague?
We should make a ranking. Least favorite.
Yeah. And your least favorite. Please, Peter.
Sorry, no, it's not how it works.
It's not how it works.
I mean,
we all have a favorite. For instance, me. I have to
Oh no,
say,
in Team Magnus we had ranks, no? Like we rated this we can do on here.
I was never a part of this discussion, which probably.
No, Peter wasn't there. That's true. We just debated a lot in Thailand.
So my favorite is no. It was not in Thailand. It was in Paris. It was in Paris. We had this discussion after the match. So I'm contractually obliged actually to say that my favorite is Peter. So
yeah, that's true.
I will stick to it. I will stick to my contract.
But we had rankings for everyone, no? I'm trying to recall that.
No, I mean, you made ranking with... no, actually...
maybe I just made ranking.
No, that was funny because you made ranking for you were on the mind, at least you thought you were on the mind of everyone, and you made ranking for everyone, while I never thought about it, to be very honest, because we are so different. I mean, let's say Jan from Jordan. I mean,
okay, but let's go through the rankings and how I imagine them, and then Peter can confirm or deny. So on the team, it was Dubov, Jon van Foreest, Laurent, and I were in Thailand, and then Peter was in Dubai, but we still count him. Magnus, we don't count as part of the team. He's the boss. So where do we start? I think I start for me. I'm not sure. Did I do the ranking for myself? Anyway, I can do it now.
Yeah, you can do it now, please.
Oof, it's going to be tough because I have to decide between the two of you, who are, of course, number 1 and 2. 1A and 1B. I'm chickening out already. Now, of course, number 1 is Laurent, because I had to spend more time with him. Peter was so far away. So Laurent was there to keep me sane. Then Peter is number 2. Then, no, it's getting awkward faster than I thought. I have to decide between Daniel and Jordan.
No, but actually, stop this. You should be in the mind of, let's say, me or Peter. And
that's
make the ranking in
then
our
you can make the ranking for me. Exactly. Let's do that. So for Peter, number 1 is Laurent. He won't admit it, but when push comes to shove, that's his number 1. Number 2. Close between Daniel and me, but I'll take myself. I'm number 2, then Daniel, and then Jordan.
Yeah, it's what you said the last time.
Spots, it's rough, but I think that was my ranking. For Laurent, number 1 is probably Jordan, because he likes mocking Jordan, but he also likes hanging out with him. So I think that's a good spot. Number 2. Okay, he has to put Peter number 1 contractually, but I think in his heart is Jordan and then Peter. Then I'm all right to number 3, but he's also okay with
Daniel.
But
I don't actually. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, when I think about that, I mean, it's always like you have I mean, like it would very much depend on my mood.
Yeah, it depends very much.
I mean, like if I want to go to party to celebrate the match, I definitely prefer to go with Jordan. I feel it will be a much funnier
we all
evening.
do.
Yeah. No, so it very much depends. Yeah, I would say.
No, if you want to have some smart conversation about something, Daniel is good. If you want to go party, Jordan is excellent. If I want to go to just don't want to be bothered and be mildly amused by Pain Blanc orders, then Laurent is excellent. So yeah, it really, really depends on.
Yeah, it really depends on your mood. Yeah, okay. I don't know if.
Then anyway, let's continue for Jordan. Hard to imagine though. I think Laurent is number 1. Daniel here is number 2 because he really enjoys playing these blitz matches with Daniel. Peter is probably number 3. No, I think he doesn't like me because I kept doing this thing. I can't hear you, which was very annoying to him. Although I couldn't hear him, just my hearing is not very good. When you're sitting next to him and it's loud and he's yelling whatever he's yelling at you, I very often couldn't hear him. So I think I got down to number 4.
Okay.
The good news is I think Daniel likes me. I'm not sure he can confirm or deny this. Daniel, shout out. I think I'm high on Daniel's list. Jordan, I think it very much depends. It's very up and down with Daniel and Jordan as well. I think Peter's probably also high up there, number 2. Laurent should be, I don't know, no one really dislikes Laurent. That's the problem with him. Yeah, I think it's a mix. Peter, any thoughts?
No, I'm generally confused. I think also it's mood-based. Also, I thought you were debating how useful people were in a chess team. Now it seems like it's more social.
This is just personal
grudges. Yeah.
No, not grudges. Just who you prefer hanging out with under what circumstances. Of course,
but I have a very clear. Peter, if you want to hear it, I have a very clear opinion on who is useful and.
I'm very interested. That I have clearer opinion as the other ones is just that's how it is. It seems also to change a lot based on mood and things like
the dynamics can change constantly.
I mean, Daniil is excellent company, but also it takes a lot of energy. I mean, I remember I think the first or the second evening he was at the absolutely first camp. He was pretty young at the time. I mean, he got into a huge principal debate about me about some, I think, some technicality on the chess rules. And we were basically shouting at each other for like 1.5 hours.
Yeah, but you stopped at some point, huh?
I think so. At some point, I thought, okay, maybe I should exercise a bit of leadership.
I was mocking you because you're not easy to.
Really? No.
Peter stopping a principled argument. That sounds rough.
No, but I mean, sort of. He's incredibly interesting to talk with, and that sounds like I don't think the rest are. But I mean,
that's because you don't.
It really depends. I would say I always try to find sort of a bunch that whoever wants actually, but sort of. But again, I mean, sure. No, you started talking. I actually think a lot in chess, so I'm sorry. This idea that we should.
That should be I
guess
okay, actually, Peter's chickening out, so we'll do his rating.
But also, I mean, it's actually more important that you guys are a functional unit because, I mean, all the stuff we do before the match, it doesn't matter that much. It's really during the match that matters. And
I'm not so sure.
That's why you're a bit outside of these rankings, because for us in Thailand, the dynamics, they change all the time. As you said, if you're tired, Laurent is great company. Like, he's not going to say anything interesting, but he's also not going to annoy you. He'll sit there and be pleasant. While, then... you don't have the energy to argue anything with Daniil.
No, so you say Daniil likes me, but I have a chess file that has the headline, I hate file. Peter Heine Nielsen.
Yeah, but is that the same file that's called You Woke Me Up?
Yeah, we all have that file.
Or is that a different one? I think it's the same file.
No, this one I actually don't have.
It's the same, because you did a Kramnik there, Peter. Really waking up people in the middle of the night to ask...
I don't have the means to wake you up because I'm sitting I don't have a number.
Yeah, but you ask someone to go and wake him up. And no. That's really a Kramnik. That's what you did.
It's completely not true. I mean, I was chatting with Daniil and I told him, actually, I need that file. He said, can I send it tomorrow? I said, better now. And,
okay.
Then he had to go out of bed. It was not like I told you to go and wake him up. I mean, now I think...
so he didn't literally have to get out of bed. He just couldn't sleep yet, I would guess. So I'm not sure if that... waking up, you kept me up, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I was extremely unreasonable there. I mean, you can read this Anand book. I come out pretty unreasonable at times, even for my standards. But I think with you guys, I've been more friendly. Mm-hmm. Well, poor guys in the other team.
that was... so you are less tough than Kramnik.
Kramnik is a completely different world. I mean,
Kramnik is...
Peter is afraid of Dubov, while he's not afraid of Wojtaszek or somebody. So he can't push Daniil as hard as Radek.
No, but also it was a different style there. We would work... I mean, also it was a different time. Nowadays, you can trust Indians much more. At that point, it was different. And... I wouldn't say I was more motivated then. It was just a different stylistic time. And we're talking Team Vichy. We actually spent 3 months together working 14 hours a day, right? Just things that never got played.
How did we get here? We were talking about Radek, and then we asked Peter to rate Team Vichy, and somehow we got on this tangent.
It's me who was just made a joke because I have some infos on what thing Peter. I mean, I think actually he always denies it, but I think I have some infos on that. And I think
we know Peter's ranking, which is why I made up all the other rankings. Exactly. But the actual ranking from Peter about Team Vichy, we're not giving away because we're that nice. All the other stuff I made up.
We know by what you said. Of course we know. That's for sure.
Of course we know.
No, but I mean, again, for me, Kasim is like Dubov. I mean, he's extremely interesting, but of course, he will never back down for a fight. And
Kasim is number 2. Okay.
Okay. No.
Out of 3. I mean, like, okay, that is very clear. So that's all I can say. But to finish with, I mean, I think it's maybe interesting for people to listen how different it was working, because we used to work. You worked for Vichy, I worked also for Kramnik in a match, and we talked about it during the video series. But I mean, I think how Kramnik was doing it is just counterproductive. I mean, it's just at some point you just don't want anything. I mean,
but
it's just too much.
You mean you mean hiring you and then not putting you 6 times on the way, or which part?
No, I mean, like, it doesn't let you sleep. I mean, it doesn't want you to sleep. So at some point, you just you get tired, simply, and you get. I mean, your work becomes not good, obviously. So overall, I mean, it's just a big mistake. And Jan was when he offered to go to Thailand for the. I mean, like that we could work during the daytime. I think it was very clever. Of course, it was very interested on his side.
All selfishness aside, it also makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, and we could work during the day, and that for me.
And during daylight sunshine, it makes
such a difference. You are just happy to be there. You want to work. Well, it's just 10 times better. I mean.
I spoke with Henrik about it, and he asked if I have any good arguments against it. I said I had a lot of bad arguments against it, but that was apparently not very convincing.
Peter's main argument was, I don't want you guys to be happy, and I don't want it to be nicer than my location.
Well, you were all sending me these holidays pictures of your amazing bungalow with pools and stuff like this.
Don't worry, we didn't send you any of the good pictures.
And you still don't know all the stories, but yeah.
No, but I mean, you're talking badly about Kramnik, and his way of doing it. But you have to remember, this was the guy who took down Kasparov by completely out preparing him. So, well, either you would say that his style actually worked in the beginning, then it failed, or you can argue, of course, that it's nothing to do with his style; it's just having the right people in the team. But
I would also argue he changed. With the title, he got more obsessed with finishing chess and having everything analyzed out, while against Kasparov, it was more conceptual still, like the Berlin. I'm sure they worked incredibly hard, and he always did. But I think his approach changed a bit in the 2000s with defending the title and all this, preparing for matches.
I mean, like, he has this great reputation to be a great match player and to prepare so good, but actually, I mean, like, Kasparov was the second match he won after Yudasin. I think the main mistake of Kasparov came 5 years before, when Kramnik could see everything from inside and he didn't want any force lines. He understood very, very, very clearly, but it doesn't mean that he knows exactly how it should be done and so on, and how to manage people. Actually, I mean, I think it's bad. I mean, like, yeah, really. I mean, I don't think his way to work is right. And he had many accidents in openings. Let's say this Marshall against Leko.
Well, that's a bit random. He was excellently prepared there, actually. He just there was one hole that at that point it was extremely difficult by computers to make sure that such didn't exist. I mean, our whole...
in Iran, I mean, it happened... No, sorry. It didn't happen only once. So, I mean, he's pushing... He was... I don't think he was I think he's a brilliant player, like one, let's say, on the level of Vichy, probably. But I'm not sure. I don't think he's a good leader. I think, for instance, Magnus is a much better leader. But that's my opinion from inside, actually. So
wow, I can't wait for Kramnik's open letter. Like
No,
but he already did some. I mean, like, I don't think it makes much sense what he's doing. But okay, whatever. That's my. I mean, like, okay, you can disagree, of course. But his record in matches is not great. Let's face it.
He lost to Shirov, then he crushed Kasparov. That's the big one, though.
Then he drew Leko while he was he was a much better player, and he beat Topalov was a weird
Topalov
match
in
anyway.
tie breaks, but yeah, that was a weird match.
And that's it.
And then he lost to Vichy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that was it. So yeah, it's not. Of course, this match against Kasparov just was the concept, and coming up with a Berlin was such a bright idea that okay, we have to give him credit for that. And opening wise, of course, he did a lot of. I mean. He found a lot of ideas, and we are still playing his openings, basically. So,
I mean, preparation-wise, he was also extremely impressive in the candidates that was won by Magnus on tiebreaks against Kramnik. There, he really was extremely well prepared. While anyone else was struggling with white, he was basically better in all his white games. I mean, Kramnik is capable of doing some things at times, but there's also some luck involved, is my impression. That
I mean, like, he's also working a lot
of course.
On his own. And, I mean, this Berlin, he came up with it. I mean, so he's a brilliant opening expert. And, yeah, don't get me wrong here. But to get the team going, I wouldn't think he's the best guy to do that.
No, his taste, his influence on openings is so far ahead of the times. Yeah. Like, now we think it's normal Catalan, Bayonet attack, Berlin, Petrov, but he started playing them when the computer didn't say zeros, but like big edge for white in the Berlin. So yeah, he really, really stood the test of time there. Anyway, back to Euro Club Cup.
Yeah.
Congrats to Novi Bor. Yeah. Sutovsky, Peter's friend, tweeted that they were both likable and successful. Rare combination. I disagree. Like, they have the same lineup for 10 years. I think they're called Novi Bor for a reason. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, good one. Yeah, second was Clichy, who beat in the last round the Norwegian team led by Magnus. Magnus, who played very well. I think it was his first team event where for a while where he gained some rating, favorite of 6, despite a draw in the first round, which that's 25-50, so that was not a good start. But then he won 4 games in a row, and in some of the games against Naumann, I mean, like, it was very much Alpha Zero style. I mean, giving all these points, playing for compensation. So some very, very good chess there. And, well, that was not enough. But they had some chances, actually, in the last round against Clichy. But, they collapsed in the end. And I think it was even 4-2 for Clichy. So...
Was a weird match. Could have gone differently. No, Luke all of a sudden was a queen down and was lost, and this Hansen endgame was probably a draw, but yeah, it wasn't quite enough.
But I would say it's a positive experience for Norwegians after their disgusting Olympiad. They had a shot. I mean, they were not favored, and in that last match, could go either way. So it's even if the final result is not great. I mean, the way they achieved it is good. I mean, like for the future. They did have a shot at the second place. So they were very close.
Magnus had a good result, no? Like, drew the first game, then won a couple of games and drew his last one. Yeah. He avoided playing Heimann, which was weird. But yeah, we've established he doesn't play Niemann. He does play Naumann. He doesn't play Heimann. So we will continue looking for a pattern there. He did play Masudlu, which led to some debate. Peter, were you involved in his prep? Are you happy with the result? What's the news on the
generally, it was a good result. I was involved in quite some of the prep. But basically, when he asks me, I respond to it. If he doesn't ask me, I try not to disturb him. So,
what happens when he asks you while you're on the golf course? Like, that must be an intimate.
Then I try to bluff. I mean, this has happened quite often. I mean, sometimes I can find some stuff in some old emails and send it like that. But of course, there has been a tricky moment here and there. But normally he doesn't find out. But it has happened, of course. So, I mean, you try that. Well, also, I mean, you have an idea about when he's going to play, right? So, I mean, you have to try and manage that. But he's generally very supportive of my golf, so that he's as Laurent said, he's a good boss, so that's he seemed to care about that. But no, I was involved in some, but not all. But I think generally, I mean, some games he played incredibly well and seemed to be in good mood and enjoy it, was my impression. So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with his chess at the moment, is the way I see it. And, well, it's good that he can also perform in these kind of events. That perhaps is not optimal if you look at rating perspective and things like that. But he seems to be able, well, he really wants to play it for... Well, it's a mixture of social and sporting reasons and in trying to do well with some teams he for some reason cares about, right? And if he can combine it with playing well and not losing way too much rating or even gaining, it's just great. I mean, it's a bit unusual for a career choice for someone of his level, but it seems to work well and it seems like something he likes. So generally, it seems like an extremely good sort of experience, except for, well... Just being close, I don't think is enough when you are neither Magnus nor Offerspil. I mean, well, they should win a medal at least at some point. They have the level for that. But
you think so?
Yes. I mean, I don't think they're considerably worse than the others. And you know,
I mean, if you look at the ratings in the last match, for instance,
they're
not favorite. I mean, by far. I mean, like they are outrated by 100 points on every other board, basically.
Yeah, maybe you're right, so, and sort of. But well, they have a shot at it, is my impression, at least.
Yeah, no, but of course, on one match they can win, but they are not favorite. But coming back to this, he didn't play one game, which was a black game. I think it's much better for him to play as black against Korbov, who is a much better player than Heinemann. But I mean, Korbov is playing normal chess. He's going to try to win and have a normal game. So in terms of winning chances, of course, it's much better to.
Wow! Shots fired at Heine, the German school of chess.
Well, okay. I played once with him. He played 4 nights. I was very happy to make a draw in 15 moves, but I mean,
well, I saw it rather like that. Well, that was a match where the team could probably do without him. And then Magnus got one chance to rest, and which is not. I mean, also, if you make these events completely unbearable for the leader in terms of that he has to play every game and doesn't get a rest and have to play people who actually has been rested, well, they also stop playing at some point. So it's reasonable he gets a day off, and that seemed to be the right time to do it, right? So,
no, also he didn't get a bunch of white. At the end of the day, it was 6 games, 3 whites, 3 blacks. So
that is the normal distribution. But
he didn't skip any. He did skip 1 black game, but I mean, it was.
I really just went for the Niemann, Naumann, Heimann joke. I didn't mean anything more. It's normal. He sits out in a match they can win.
Be careful what you say. It can take half an hour, it seems.
Yeah. We're very careful on this podcast. Let's move on from great news for Norwegian chess to less great news for Norwegian chess. Bunch of cheating cases are being debated in Norwegian chess circles. Joachim B. Nielsen, the former, I think I have to say, president of the Norwegian Chess Federation, he admitted he cheated in the Pro Chess League and has now, that was in 2016, 2017, and has now stepped down as the president of the federation. I think we talked about this last time very briefly.
Yeah, one very weird thing. So apparently he cheated for the Norway norms, which
your team
actually play. But it was the very next year. It was not the same year. But why did he feel the urge to admit it now, 5 years later or 6 years later?
My theory is, Magnus made this open letter, the statement, guys, we should take cheating seriously. And then Norwegians thought, okay, that's what Magnus says. We better come clean.
Okay.
But did the case start with him admitting it, or did the case start with someone saying that there has been this story? Or
I think he just admitted out of nowhere. At least for me, as an avid student of chess gossip and Reddit chess, I hadn't seen anything about it.
From what I read, is that chess.com was suspecting him. Then they sent a letter. I remember very well that Hammer, Mr. Hammer, was a captain. So they spoke to Hammer, and Hammer confronted him. Then he said no, and then it was the end of the story. I don't think they took him for the year where I played. Maybe I replaced him actually. I don't know. I mean, I have no clue. I mean, I just played to be. I mean, like okay. like I was friendly with the Norwegians. Why not to play a few games? But yeah, so I mean, it came just out of the blue. I mean, just but yeah, better late than never.
Maybe he felt as president he had to come clean and set a statement there. But yeah, that was that, and by now I think he stepped down as the president of the federation and whatever other positions he had in chess. There's also talk about Christian Stuvik-Holm, his final GM norm, a talented Norwegian player who was banned for cheating in the past, long time ago. As a kid in like 2012, he got, I think, a 9-month penalty, and his dad got an even longer penalty. And I'm not sure if you've seen this case. I just saw it on Twitter, the final game where he got his GM norm in an open tournament, I think in Benasque in Spain. He beat, is it Czech Grandmaster Wojtek Platt?
Yeah.
And he beat him by using the same opening trap that Platt himself had used earlier in the tournament with colors reversed, which is rare for a 25-50 Grandmaster to fall for a trap that he used himself earlier in the tournament.
I must admit I heard about that story before it was on Twitter. So yeah,
long ago, or
this was 2021, or when was that?
Yeah, but that Fress heard about it.
But come on, Laurent being connected to every chess cheating allegation at this point is no longer a surprise, is it?
Kaiser Soze, yeah. No, I mean, okay, there's some stories I mean, like how this we didn't, I mean, we heard about it before, so as well before he was caught. So, I mean, sometimes, you're talking to people and actually, Niemann, I didn't hear anything before the Sinkerfield. So, yeah, depends, yeah. But yeah, that's well, that's weird.
That's also very strange. I mean, well, if you actually want to take a dive, why do it in such an obvious fashion? You would argue, right? I mean, it's it makes little sense to me. But what do I know?
I have no idea about this case, but I can think of two explanations. One would be sort of laziness. Oh, I had this opening trap earlier in this tournament, and here after 12, knight b5, white is just winning. So I could just go for that. And sometimes also you wanna show the world that, no, this is not what I would do. But that, of course, would be a bit strange.
It's about pride, you mean, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's what my explanation is that, okay, look, they cannot prove anything, but I didn't lose like that, which is, of course, very stupid. But yeah, I don't know.
But there was this earlier case, this trap in the English, this main line with e5, knight f6, d5, knight to b6, and you go knight d5 later, and white wins the piece by bishop d5. Yeah, I think someone won with that trick twice with white and lost it once. No, won with that trick twice with black and lost it once with white later. Like, that's always suspicious, no, for grandmasters.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had these things happen.
Yeah.
In the past.
I don't know how to deal with these kind of things, but well, let's see.
Yeah, it's hard to. Yeah, it's a bit weird that it comes from Norway. Of course, it adds to the drama.
No, I think just in Norway there's a lot of focus on it now. I mean, well, the press will happily write about some of these things, and people are using that possibility to get stories out, is my impression. I mean,
also in that case, once again, first of all, we don't know anything, and secondly, was the other guy who fell for that trap. Yeah,
it's just weird. I mean that, and also, I mean, I understand that you can build suspicions, but is it actually proof? What are you going to do with it?
There's never proof in chess. No, that's
no, that's the problem, right? That I mean, and then well, I mean, yeah. No, I don't know what to do with these kind of things, to be honest.
Fair enough. So let's move away from cheating in chess. Let's get to Hans Niemann and the US Championship. Fabi just crushes Hans every time with black.
And then declare that they are not in a chatting term.
They're not on chatting terms? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, these things happen fast. I thought they were playing tennis together a couple of weeks ago, but
there was the tennis selfie.
Yeah,
but Kawana then started to analyze his games and said this. What I said the other day on the podcast, that it was one of the two that some of the game from 2020 were the sign of a genius or very, very fishy. So clearly, it was as I said last time, and you were completely shocked. That was a very direct accusation, in my opinion. Fabi is doing well, actually.
Yeah, it's good to see him in good shape again. It's been a while.
I think deep down in our minds, he's still number 2, right? I mean, I'm not sure if he is in actual strength, but in my head, because I've seen him in 2018 and his results, he's still number 2. Like, this might not be fair to all the others.
No, it sounds. I agree. I have it the same way, but that's also like I typically dress. I dress based on yesterday's weather. I mean, so somehow you don't update things quick enough. I mean, there's a lot of evidence for Caruana not being the second strongest chess player. Why is he weaker than Nepomniachtchi, for instance? Is there any kind of evidence suggesting that based on recent events?
Stronger.
Do you know, guys? Can you guess? I hope you don't know. What's the rating of MVL today at the time of recording?
2745.
Peter?
I have no idea. 2721?
No, 35.
Okay.
2735. So this
wow,
is amazing.
he lost like 10 in Euro Club Cup, yeah?
He lost like 10. And in general, for me, Maxime is like 2780 player. I mean, like even now. And the same applies for Fabi. It's very weird to see them so low, but at some point we'll get to it. They will.
Father Time is undefeated, but they just turned 30. Is Father Time saying 30 is the new 40 in chess? Because it used to be till 40 you can hang.
Yeah, but I think 30 is maybe not the new 40.
But these guys also start like at 15. They start playing top tournaments.
Yeah. So Fabi, he had a very difficult position in the first game against Dominguez, but since then he's doing well. While Niemann had a very good start, he won the first game. Then he lost to this guy. I don't know, this Christopher Yu, who had a weird.
No, he beat Christopher Yu in the first round.
Yeah, but who was the second? Then Christopher Yu beat Wesley. And
Christopher Yu beat Wesley. He said he felt disrespected by the Hans, saying the game speaks for itself. So he defeated Wesley with black out of spite. Yeah. Must be nice.
These American kids are hard to hit, yeah? I mean, like, they're a bit...
But he seems tough, this Christopher Yu. He's 15. Like, he's okay. Only, quote-unquote, 2560. But that might also be some pandemic. I think we'll hear more from that guy.
Yeah.
I like his style.
No, he impressed me in the last Carlsen chess tour.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. In general, these US kids, I wonder, Liang is also up there. We haven't heard that much from him. Sam Savian, he's like closing in on 2-7. Jeffrey Zhong already is 2-7. Like the Indian kids, they stole the limelight from the US kids when it comes to Prodigy Watch.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of very strong young players as well.
I still think that the world needs to have a U20 tournament, simply. I mean, there is so many... I mean, you could have a 14-player event, right?
Sure.
I mean, something like that would be extremely interesting, in my opinion.
But
I mean, there's really a lot who is very, very... I mean, you're mentioning some name there. Again, I haven't paid much attention, but sometimes you see and you'll get extremely impressed.
I have no idea who are the kids and who aren't. Like, in my mind, Ray Robson is a kid, but I think he's 27 years old. I mean, like, we lose, like, touch with who are the young guys. But Christopher Yu is very, very much up and coming. Yeah. And the other guys, Zhong and Sevian, they've been around for a while, but I would still count them as talents.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, like, only 5 rounds played. There's still 8 rounds to go. So this is a very long way, and it's very close. I mean, like, Fabi is on +2, but there are people on +1, and most of the guys are on 50%. So all to play for. It will be interesting to follow.
Let's not write off my boy Wesley just yet. He lost that one game, but
he's on 50%.
I still believe in Wesley. Yeah, he can still jump in there.
Yeah,
and he said, I couldn't tell with Wesley. Sometimes I can't tell what's tongue in cheek and what's not. He said Hans is the most disrespectful teenager in chess because he called so many people idiots and so on. And he also beat the great Magnus. Like I couldn't tell what he meant, but it was interesting. generally, yeah, the vibe from all these interviews we've heard and seen must be, no matter what you think about Hans, must be tough for him, no? Like everyone's dissing him in the interviews. They're not on speaking terms and so on.
Well, I must say that it must be tough for him, especially if he didn't cheat over the board. If he cheated over the board, then okay.
No, if he deserves it is a different question.
Yeah,
I mean, just trying to imagine like what goes on in everybody's
If you
mind.
feel I don't deserve it and I get all this, then it's really tough, and I really have sympathy for him. If he really cheated, then I have zero sympathy, and he gets what he deserves. I mean, that's...
yeah, that's fair. There's also, of course, a position where people say, well, we know he did cheat online, so he gets whatever is coming either way.
Yeah, but this cheating online, he already admitted, it's public and so on. If he, let's say, during the period he was cheating online, let's say if he had all this very strong performance over the board, if he cheated at that period, then I think it's fully deserved. But yeah, we will probably never know.
We will never find out, no? Like everyone did their video, like their stats analysis.
Yeah, everyone has has a clear opinion, no? It's my opinion is that everyone has made his mind on that. I don't know how.
Oh no, I'm still changing my mind every other day.
I'm not changing now. But
no, you've chosen your corner.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not. I looked at the games in 2020, and actually, it's exactly the same period than when he was a bit seems desperate, living alone and cheating online, and he played all these fantastic games at the same period. So, you know, it's a very strong coincidence.
I know, but we all got excited about this 100% chess-based number, which then later, was
but I have my eyes as well.
Metric.
I mean, like
I understand, but we all have eyes. But if you use them on any other up-and-coming grandmaster, with this going in with thinking, let's look for something, I'm not sure how it is. Like you could very well be right, but I just don't think anybody's done it like taking time, trying to think through the moves that's on a similar level and done it for similar cases as well. So I still keep changing my mind. But I understand.
I disagree. You can check the 40 games. I mean, like...
no, I've seen all the games.
No, but let's say against Cornet, I mean, you can... with Stockfish 13, you can go and you see that it's a first line or second line in every move.
I know. Anyway, we keep having the
yeah, no, I mean...
debates like there are other statistics as well with the centipawn loss and number of quote-unquote perfect games with all the projects. But yeah, the problem is it will never get resolved, right? We will keep having our opinions and no one, of course, will have any proof. So it will just keep lingering, no? Peter, what's the way out of this?
Well, that was in August with the elections, right? But now I don't know. Well, you need to build a system where we believe that, people will get caught if they are doing it. Like you have in a general society, that there is trust in the police that and the legal system, that you cannot cheat with success, else it goes wrong, obviously. You can argue that this is the state now, that it's too difficult to cheat, but there seems to be people who think that's not really the case. So, I mean, you see cycling has actually moved from that... everybody seemed to be cheating to now at least there is some kind of trust, or maybe I'm just naive. I don't know. Laurent probably knows more about such. But
I mean, I stopped watching cycling in early 2000 because, they said everyone stopped to cheat, and then they were going even faster the next year. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was not a story I could buy. That's it.
Once Team Festina was out, I was out. Richard Viron, where are you? But, we keep having the same debate. I think it's very important to stress. Chess is not cycling. Yeah. We are very, very sure a great number of our top players aren't cheating and have never cheated with engines. So it's completely different than cycling. Where
very much.
Had to be that.
No, for instance, in World Championship matches, I would be extremely surprised if anyone had cheated there, the ones I've been part of. So, I mean, of course, our integrity it's to a huge extent there, but still, it's getting worse.
But Peter, I think you say that because you always won your your matches.
It's a good point. Yeah, I actually started thinking about that when I said.
Yeah, I mean, like, you are always winning, so you don't feel very cheated.
No, but actually, well, it's not fully true. I was part of. I was Vichy's second in 2005 when Topalov won, and well, there's many who thinks he cheated there. I'm probably not one of them, but again, it's also this you will never know, and at some point you stop caring, right? But it was a huge deal back then, no doubt.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I often hear now these cheating allegations. That's a new thing in chess, and they're poisoning the game. If we go back a little bit to, I don't know when Baguia was, 1986, Karpov Korchnoi with the poisoned yogurts and all the hypnotizers and the paracycle and the chairs and all the stuff that was going on there. Obviously, Topalov Kramnik and Topalov 2005, there was a lot of talk. I mean, it's been around forever. Doesn't make it better, and doesn't mean we don't have to do something about it, but it's really not a new phenomenon.
No.
The new phenomenon, of course, is that we have smartphones that are so much stronger.
Yeah, it's probably become much easier. I think in the World Championship match in Sofia, that must be, get me calculate, 2010, right? At some point, by mistake, I forgot something in our workroom, so I went back to our workroom to pick it up. And there, some security guy from our team had all the lights out in the room, and it was completely dark. And I think he was checking for microphones or cameras while we had left the room, right? So,
wow.
I mean,
yeah, we had Laurent do that every night.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. And,
from midnight till 5 o'clock.
No, I remember, of course. Well, we were debating about, what do we do in this? I mean, and I think even after game 2 in Sofia, me and Kasim had a conversation where we thought, okay, they punched at the extreme weakest in our prep. I mean, but, we made some very last-minute changes, so it didn't hit as badly as, it wasn't not at all a success. But we had this conversation that, do they actually know our prep? Because they're really hitting at some extremely sore spots. But then you can...
But that also sounds like the usual paranoia.
Yeah, but again, then you go on in the match, you see that, no, it just seems to be completely random, and that we got off to a bad start, and things started to work well for us. But it's very easy to create these stories when you are in this kind of semi-paranoia, you're up against an intelligent opponent. It's very difficult to tell. I mean, so it's...
That's the problem. It's so easy on both sides, like, to convince yourself that what you think is right. Like, it's very, very tough.
So it's... it's strange. But I very much agree that it's not a new conversation, but of course it's intensified, and of course... online events, it must be technically, it's so obviously technically much easier than over the board.
Now that you mention it, I mean, your guessing game in Bonn was really good, actually. So I was start wondering.
Really? What do you mean, guessing game?
I mean, like Vichy's team. I mean, you are hitting us at the...
Laurent, careful. Yeah. If we find out that you're not only connected to every cheating scandal, but also to every leaking scandal in the history.
Yeah, like you are like doing an amazing job choosing the right openings.
I don't think so. We barely had any prep against Exchange Slav, for instance.
But he played the best line. I mean, like on the first game.
Yeah, that was a bit of luck.
A bit of luck, but he played the best line, which is still holding, by the way.
Yeah, it is still holding, but it was basically something that we just, checked it for 5 minutes the day before. And also, for instance, this F3 Nimso. Kramnik played some line that we really hadn't covered very well. So, and...
I'm kidding.
I don't think that... I think mainly... the point was when we guessed right, we hit incredibly hard. But if you look at it statistically, we didn't... It's not like we guessed right all the games and you got everything wrong. It was more that Kramnik's victories was too small.
Yeah, no, but that was your the point you were making. Sometimes you are just guessing right, or you have a better prep, or a bit of luck, or a lot of luck. So,
luck is underestimated, I think. Also,
for sure.
We remember the tournament that Topalov became the world champion in 2005. But in the first round, he was actually out-prepared by Leko in a sharp Sicilian. Leko was much better. And Leko could have won that game, and that could have changed chess history. But it didn't. And now Topalov was that. I mean, you can take Kasparov. I think didn't he draw a losing position against Andersen in the interzonal, which could have knocked him out? And there is stuff like this. Or Nigel Short won with black against Gurovic in an exchange French, right, to go all the way. For his perspective, qualify for the World Championship, for the chess world, to make the split in the chess world. I mean, there is always some kind of step on the way where everything could have changed dramatically.
Richard Rapport was not allowed to enter the US, therefore Niemann got the spot. Sinquefield Cup.
Yeah.
The butterfly effect. It's everywhere.
Butterfly effect. It's everywhere, yeah. Anyway, this is going to be a very long podcast with these kind of digressions we're taking.
We can do a bonus episode where you guys reminisce about 2008. Like, I think we did a video series, but it's always good to.
Yeah.
No, actually, I
come back to
behind the paywall.
I forgot when we talk about this US kids. I forgot to mention from the European Club Cup, one very important thing that happened is that it was the first time that all these Indian kids just underperformed. They all lost rating. And they played quite poorly. I must say, the guy, Erigesi, I never saw him playing like that. He lost a bunch of rating points, and the games were really not good, simply. Gukesh as well. And even Sarin lost a bit of rating. So it was actually, it felt unreal to see all these kids who they keep winning ratings, they keep winning a lot of games and playing so well. So all of them in one event, they just played quite poorly. I mean, for their standard, of course. So I don't know. It's only 7 games, so we cannot, of course, draw any conclusion on that. But that's the first one for me for already since I know them, basically, because they are always winning ratings, these guys.
I also noticed that I don't think it's enough to change the junior power rankings. They're still sitting at their 2.730s. But yeah, as we talked about before, the US kids, they're coming a little bit. And also, it's great news for Alireza when you see them coming a bit down to earth, like Gukesh losing to Fedoseev and whom did he lose in the last round? Volokitin. Yeah. Like, he still won a lot of games, but it shows he's vulnerable. He can still lose to 2600s. And Alireza can say, okay, guys, I crushed Sinquefield Cup and St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. I'm on a different level still. Don't forget.
Erigesi I think he lost 2 games, no? Erigesi.
He scored 50% for his standards.
And he was busted against Bauer. Some broken game. It was not, Bauer just repeated the moves, but he could win quite easily. They can still lose to let's say good grandmaster, but 2600 people. So
also nice moment for Vichy 64 the king. No, last round against Erigesi.
Yeah,
he just wins a sharp game. Vichy does. So when you come at the king, you better not miss. Must have felt very nice for Vichy.
For sure. They have like. Vichy is 53 and Erigesi is 18 or 19?
19.
So, if you calculate, it's like 34 years difference. Okay, that's very impressive.
I feel I could beat a lot of people that are 34 years younger than me, so I don't think that.
Yeah, that's true. But, from Vichy, he played a very interesting event, of course. He lost a couple of games, which was not good, but he also won some nice games. So overall, it's always very impressive to see him playing.
I had some comments praising Laurent for the Fress drama segment. I'm not sure we have much time for it, but maybe briefly.
Yeah.
Someone is saying, originally I was on Team Jan because he's funny and has good cultural references, but it turns out Jan is not good at listening. How dare you? And at times his shtick seems one note. Fair enough. Therefore, I proudly announce my support for the true alpha of the Chicken Chess Club podcast. Go Team Fress. That's one. And then there's the longer and more interesting one. There is a thing I find very interesting in this podcast. All 3 fellas are clearly clever and they know their stuff. Thank you. Not true, but thank you. But Laurent seems a more intuitive kind of guy, and it gives him an angle the others lack. For example, Peter's love of statistics creates a blind spot when it comes to Reagan. Laurent doesn't care if he passes for an ignorant peasant. I'm not sure if he doesn't care or doesn't notice, but we'll get to that later. So he isn't overly impressed by Markovian models. People who know them aren't impressed either, or whatever buzzwords one throws at him. He simply trusts his instincts and all but states that Reagan is an overconfident half-wit. I'm not sure Laurent said that. Who doesn't know his... Wow, I can't read that out. Anyway, I'm sure Laurent's intuitive unrefinedness is a huge asset to Team Magnus. Yada, yada, yada. Peter, is Laurent's intuitive unrefinedness a huge asset to the team?
Well, I guess it would be called street smartness. So to an extent, yes. I mean, well, again, for some reason, Taleb is very popular in the part of the Team Carlson part I'm traveling with. So that's Magnus and his dad, especially.
It's Magnus as well? I thought it was just Henrik.
No, it's just Henrik. But I mean, well, he beats us with so much volume that it's just easier to also go that direction. And I think Taleb has this idea of sort of grandmotherly wisdom that, it's things that is passed on in generations. And it tends to have quite some truth in it because it's basically evolution. And, maybe Fress has this kind of course I disrespect it, but still, I mean, street smartness that actually, I mean...
But street smartness is also a backhanded compliment. No, it means... Okay.
Yeah, it's clear that it's not something I like, but I get the point that, well, if you just look at statistics and such, you can go horribly wrong, and you need someone who also tries to,
to think.
Just have a sort of lazy opinion and just has some kind of gut feeling, right? I can, if you would like that. Much.
I think he moved away intuitively because he was sort of praising you, so he didn't want to...
No, I was annoyed.
I should make an effort to listen to him and then to listen to him again. So, I mean, I have to double my efforts. Okay, please, so finish.
No, it's like when I lose to you in poker. Well, I think the odds are on my side, but you're probably not as lucky as I think, something like that.
Yeah, because I took your money when I had 2 pairs and you had like... this face where you raised the pre-flop with a big smile, like for the first time of the evening. So I could guess you had some pocket pair quite high. Yeah. So I guess with my small cards, I paired twice, and I thought I was ahead of you. But
I think I got a lot of money in when I was ahead, which should generally be a good thing. But
I mean, most of I don't think so. But yeah. Okay.
Write your angry letters now, poker community.
Yeah.
But we've also established many times on this podcast that Peter doesn't know anything about 2 pairs. That was weird.
So, that was
Laurent kind of thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. But no, I get what they're saying, but that's also, I mean... We should generally have a very broad team. And I think again, you just want to talk about people's personal qualities, but I thought in chess terms...
Also, to be clear, the team currently is Laurent and you. So
that is
very
true.
broad means you have the street smart guy on the one side and you on the other side.
I mean, something like that. I mean, it's just, call him a second opinion so that, you need someone who disagrees with me and that, for sure, he delivers.
I mean, less and less, actually.
Yeah, that is true. No, that's
the problem with engines. They're the great equalizer now.
Yeah.
Well.
And...
No, if anything, I mean, I was always used to be the pessimist in the team, but these days it's Laurent, actually. He's,
Yeah, but... Yeah, I don't know. Okay. No, but the way we see things, I think actually it's just much more... we are looking much more on the same... we are on the same agenda, basically. I mean,
that's both good and bad. I mean, that's also what happens in Team Vichy, that, you get so stuck in certain patterns and you have... When your knowledge gets closer to each other because you learn from each other, and then at some point it becomes you lack the outside perspective. That's also why we try to keep rotating people, even if we are happy with who we had before.
We learn from each other. Talk for yourself.
Yeah, but I don't know.
No, I'm kidding, of course.
My hunch would be that well, I might have influenced you, like it or not, and vice versa. And this is how it works. Well, also, I'm very critical to Reagan. This one comes out as the opposite, but I mean, I also respect him, and that might differ from you, perhaps. But it's a complicated topic.
Yeah,
anyway,
no,
That's Ronald Reagan. We're talking about Nora?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
but he's mentioning Reagan actually in his.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, okay.
No, but I mean, it could, of course, be that, well, Laurent has a gut feeling. And, well, I mean, well, we think we can catch people with statistics, but how many has actually been caught by statistics? Well, we don't really know.
How many have been caught by Laurent?
0? I mean, like, how about 0 who have been caught by statistics? I mean, Rouses, Feller, or the Nigalidze, they were caught with their phone somewhere.
Well, Rouses was literally caught with his pants down, right?
Yeah,
and
Nigalidze as well, and
Feller admitted. So basically...
But once again, Laurent was sitting next to Feller. If that's the guy who's got feeling we're going to trust on cheaters, we're not in a great spot.
Already, what annoys me with Reagan, I mean, no, it's not with him, but in general, is that it's undisputed, like, he's the expert. So, he's the expert for the last 15 years. We should
But is that coming
already.
from him or just from media that he's the go-to name?
He's from FIDE as well, and from himself.
Yeah.
So he says, I'm the expert, I'm the best. And FIDE says, oh yes, he's the best. And already before the Feller case, he was considered like the GOAT, like I remember the French Federation, they were asking him his opinion and so on. So, I mean, like, we have some undisputed expert for 15 years who claims to everyone that, okay, he knows this guy cheated, this guy didn't cheat. And, okay, I mean, already I hate that. I just hate that. That's some guy is there and saying, I'm the expert, and that's it.
But, I mean, in the interview I saw with him, he's also saying that, well, I mean, FIDE should have their own people, not just rely on him. He has other things to care about. He didn't strike me as that confident. But, of course, I think we agree on the general matter that, we lack several experts who is doing it independently and is heavily into it. But maybe it's an impossible task.
Mm-hmm.
Which sort of
also, I'm not sure we lack these experts. We've had hundreds of opinions on the topic.
No, but I mean, experts that sort of state, you call it state or FIDE authorized, something that, you actually have some trust in. I mean, if some doctors come out with DNA evidence, we assume it to be correct, right? This thing you see with Chestat expert now, it reminds one of the pandemic experts. Suddenly there is a lot of people, and some might make brilliant points, some might not. We're not really capable of saying because it happens so fast. And
in the pandemic, I thought at least it was easy to distinguish who's highly qualified. I might be wrong because obviously I'm an idiot, but it was easier to see like that guy does come across as an expert with the Vita and so on. But in chess, we have plenty of people with the Vita where you could argue he makes sense or he doesn't make sense. But it's a lot more blurry. Sometimes the more you know about it.
It is. Also for them, it's about creating clicks, right? I mean, someone becomes famous and you try to make some post. And, we all would like to contribute because we understand it's a problem. But it's extremely difficult for me to tell who is experts and who is not. I mean, I tend to, everybody who makes a convincing case, you will believe them. But, you remember at some point, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were all talking about engine correlation from ChessBase. But, I mean, some are saying, ChessBase themselves writes in the manual that, this is not a good way of anti-cheating detection, right? And, I mean, it becomes difficult.
You really think Naka wants to make some clicks? No, I think he's just doing it in a genuine way.
Oh, you're the one who's always watching him, so...
Yeah, because really. I'm an idiot. I mean, I know he wants to make some clicks, and I'm just making the click.
Yeah, it makes good clicks. It's interesting.
Seems to work.
Yeah, it works. I mean, because the audience is very... And I'm part of the audience at times. Okay, now it's been a while I didn't watch. But
no, to come back to Peter's chess-based engine correlation thing, I think is also part of the process, if we want to call it scientific or not. But we get some new information, like people react sometimes, maybe overreact. But then we try to figure out how useful that information is and what we can check it against. So I think most people were trying, genuinely, of course, liking the attention as well, but trying to figure out what's going on. But we haven't gotten very far.
Yeah. I'm not saying some has ill intent. I think all tries to contribute, but I mean, for the sort of the reader, it's extremely hard to judge what is really expert, what is based on some figures that are, I mean, not very meaningful. It's very difficult, and it is for me, and I consider myself a somewhat expert on that.
So the conclusion is we can't trust the experts. We have to rely on Laurent's gut.
Yep, that is what makes him some unrefined yet valuable.
That should be correct on his Tinder profile. Yeah, unrefined yet valuable.
Okay. But yeah, okay. We can.
Okay, let's move on, please. We're running late.
FIDE.
No, chicken of the week. Missing. Chicken of the week. Who's chicken of the week?
Who's chicken of the week?
Yeah.
Oof, that's easy.
Who is it now?
It's gay, of course.
What has he done?
I mean, I need a special reason to nominate him? No, he's just chicken of the week. As always, still didn't give it. Making jokes about this Niemann stuff all the time on Twitter, while he didn't say anything. I mean, he must have an opinion. Didn't give it. So, yeah. And he's a chicken by default. So, I didn't think about it before. So, I want to nominate him. Especially this week. I don't know why, but yeah. Okay.
I was, as usual, struggling with the nominee. It's, once again, more of a question. What's going on with our boy Laurent? He's playing the US Championship. I think he has 2 out of 5 at the time of recording. In the first game, he's black against Lenderman, whom he outrates by, 230 points. It looks like it has a decent position. Some random moves by white and some isolated queen's pawn. And he repeats moves. And yeah, it seems like I don't know if there's something wrong with him. Maybe he has health issues or whatever. But it's not typical for him. So I was more curious what's going on. But I have to choose him for lack of a better alternative. Peter?
Well, I mean, I have constantly been fighting FIDE, but it becomes a bit monotomatic. So maybe I should take the European Chess Union for a check.
Wow, right? another chess governing body. That's
exactly. They actually have as my prize really at the leader, and I mean he has some of the biggest cheating scandals in the past. So I would say that they should make a statement on that. I mean, they are just trying to be very, very quiet, is my impression. I mean, I think, European Chess Federation and those who elected him without a sort of a candidate against should actually, when we talk so much about cheating, can we actually have Asmai as the European Chess Federation president? I think there could be good arguments for yes, but these guys should speak out and communicate it clearly, because for some it might be difficult to understand, including me.
So who's the chicken? It's the union themselves? It's Asmai, or it's people who voted Asmai?
Asmai I don't dare, but I would probably say the delegates, or you could also say the board, but European chess politicians.
But those are faceless chicken.
Yeah, I can start. Well, it's a group of chickens, right? I mean, it's chickens of the week. It says. I mean, it's not. You actually.
What's the term for group of chickens? We should know that. Flock of chicken.
Flock of chickens, but yeah.
Okay, we'll take it.
So that they're gonna be mine. Yeah, well, that's what you get. So yeah.
Then I think we're more or less through with our stuff, which means. Peter, what's wrong with FIDE/ECU this week?
Well, actually, I'm gonna
get closer to the mic, otherwise we
okay. I'm basically having it in my mouth now, but
that's what she said.
Come on, Laurent. I know you can't resist that one. Yeah.
That's what she said. Okay, please
cut. Well, I will limit myself. I had more, but I will limit myself to 2 things. So one of them is a statement by Gustafsson on Twitter. He says that, it's important to understand that if FIDE says someone has cheated, their standard of proof is much higher than everyone else. He says that FIDE is 99. It's not 99%. It's not 51% or 75%. It's 99.999%. There is several problems with that. One of them is that it's incredibly hard to prove anything to that level. I mean, I'm not sure even DNA makes makes that cut. Also, well, in sports, you can argue for lower level of proof than in actual courts, I would say, because we have to have a sport functioning, and you also need to protect athletes against cheaters. So if there is 99% certainty, is that or not? At least that should enough. That should be a debate, I would say. But what someone pointed out too is that, Sutowski is just flat out wrong. Because, FIDE has actually made, they have the sort of ethical rules. And there they specify exactly that, let me see, 16.13, that, FIDE and all competent organs shall have the burden of establishing that cheating offenders has occurred. The standard of proof shall be that of comfortable satisfaction of the relevant EDC chamber. The standard of proof is, in all cases, greater than mere probability, but less than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So FIDE actually has in its rules that the proof in terms of evidence for cheating has to be less than the proof beyond reasonable doubt. So, I think that's a very important point to understand, that the FIDE rules actually are not like in a court case, and that FIDE already in their rules has that we have to lower the burden of proof in these kind of cases, because else it becomes impossible to prove things, and that the general director or director general doesn't know that and states the otherwise is, of course, perhaps not ideal. But anyway, that I thought was a relevant point to point out. Now to something more political.
Hang on, can we weigh in?
Yeah, actually, you're very welcome. I just thought you didn't want to.
Yeah, fair enough. No, first of all, the numbers sounds weird, no? Like, if FIDE, whoever that is 99.99% sure someone's a cheater, they should probably do something about it, no? Like,
I would think so, yes.
Secondly, where do we get these numbers from? There are no statistics saying it's 99% likely. No, I mean, maybe these Chess.com analysis that they were publishing a bit in their report and so on, where, I would guess beyond reasonable doubt, but you're saying it's even less than reasonable doubt.
This I actually, a general point I wanted to make. Well, some says that they think there is a 30% probability someone cheated, or 70%.
Yeah, we're just making up numbers.
How can you have a feel for that? That makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, anyway, go on.
It's not like we have a precedent, like out of 5 cheaters, 4 who behaved exactly like this were, and one wasn't. Like, it's all just made up numbers, like 20%, 80%, 50%, sure. Yeah. It sounds very random to me at this point. Secondly, I was going to say, beyond reasonable doubt is a standard that sounds useful, but we don't really have that. We don't have numbers and ways to create those numbers in cheating cases. And of course, since you keep referring court case, Emil, at this point, he has to be aware that every tweet of his you will treat at the very least as evidence in a court case. Yeah, so the standard for his tweets should be even higher than anything else.
I mean, are you kidding me?
I am kidding you at this point.
Yeah. No, but, I don't know how to deal with it, but I think this one comes out wrong and sets the wrong idea of what it... I mean, also, if we want to have 99.999%, then we are really literally down to taking people with their pants down, right? And
also, the statement for FIDE, like, what does it mean? Is there like a commission that is looking through all these games and then they create a number? Okay, guys, we have 99.997 here. We're not doing anything about it. These things don't exist, right? I mean, it's just words. Or am I wrong about that? And FIDE does have...
No, that's what I mean, that these numbers makes absolutely zero sense. I mean, also, what does it mean beyond reasonable doubt? I saw someone said in a legal forum that's, that's around 90%. I assumed it was quite higher than that. But, I mean, no one puts numbers on that. I mean, for 11 years, I was a lay judge in the Danish system. And, I mean, we never thought about percentages. So I don't think it functions like that, to be honest.
You're the expert on Emil and FIDE officials, but so many people have at least given tweets or statements showing where they stand on the issue, which a bit contradicts, as we all have. But I'm saying it contradicts a little. And also, it's what bothers me with this whole Hans case, that we're only making it about Hans without having any of these 99 whatever numbers you wanna put out there. But if we're saying that's the standard or beyond reasonable doubt, so many people have given statements. Oh, this looks sus, which of course doesn't mean anything, but it's still leaning somewhere, which I find weird.
I don't know how it works in cycling with this call. I mean, at some point they were calculating this hematocrit value from their blood. And if it crosses, I think, 40, they would take them out of the race. But they would not ban them for cheating. They would just say, well, this is a suspicious level, so now you have to leave the race to protect us against cheating. And tough luck for you. Well, I mean, we could also end up in situations like that in chess. I mean, some of the servers might even do that they disqualify you, but they don't blame you for cheating. They just
That's
take you
what
out
they
of
all
the
do.
tournament.
They always refer to your
Yeah.
AGB's terms and conditions.
And
say,
yeah, and no, it's a crappy situation, and no doubt about that. Anyway, I wanted to talk about one more thing in the FIDE segment. That was a statement from TASS. TASS, I think, is the Russian news agency, and they have a source in or next to the FIDE Council, and says that within the FIDE Council they have now started a debate on should Russian teams be allowed to participate in what is it called, Paralympic and youth events as a team, but under a neutral flag. And well, that is quite big in my opinion, because that's moving even further away from how the IOC is, and it's moving closer to normalizing that Russian teams. Well, this is basically from the playbook that Filatov was stating before. Well, on the sort of Russian chess federation's plan that, first they get a Djokovic elected, then they start loosening sanctions on Paralympics and youth, and then they go on from there for the full Monty later. And I think it's serious if it's already discussed within the council. I think also it's a problem if it's discussed behind closed doors. Of course, even worse if it's only TASS who knows about it. And that should be out in the open, and especially.
Who's this TASS? It's the Russian news.
I think TASS is a well-known Russian state news agency. I don't know if it's.
Why should we trust Russian state news agencies at this point?
Because they are pretty well connected, would be my hunch. Okay. Well, that they have a source there wouldn't be very unsurprising to me.
No, I understand. But using Russian state news, if it fits your narrative, I find strange.
Okay, I thought a TASS statement is...
shouldn't believe anything coming from that.
On these matters, I would say so. I mean, the first place that you saw that FIDE actually said that they were open about that they were basically rigging the pairings in the females candidates and making a different structure was in Russian Sport Express. I think generally, as I see chess news or news in general, is that, there will be news in Russian and there will be news in English, and they are a bit not working in, the same. And these things I generally find extremely trustworthy normally. They are generally well connected, and things that are somewhat pro-Russian would appear in the Russian news, and vice versa. Things that are more pro-Western will be in English. You can take Djokovic's two statements for me to get back to that, right? In English, it's about Ukrainian civilians, and in Russian, it's about denazification. And something here, no one before Djokovic gave an interview much later spoke about that they actually had rigged the parents in order to accommodate the Russia-Ukraine split. But this was mentioned in the Russian news, that the Russian news is not well connected. I think you are wrong about. They are obviously connected to...
Not saying they're not well connected.
I think generally they're quite...
Saying that's not the source.
Okay, I would think...
Judging what... Whoever
I genuinely agree. I have asked David Glada on Twitter, who is the FIDE press guy, without getting an answer. So I don't know. At the FIDE Congress, this subject was debated, that these teams were in. This was the famous. I forgot if it was which country. Some of the delegates says, "How am I going to explain to my kids that Russian kids are not allowed to participate?" And Kasparov tweeted that, this is a matter of upbringing. Tell them that, Russia is bombing another country right now. So it is not news, and that it was sort of pushed to be decided later is also clear. That was the decision. But if it's happening right now, when Russia is escalating with annexations, and today, as we record, bombings of civilians, it sounds to me like a completely wrong time to make sanctions less, not more. But anyway, people who have fought through the first 24 episodes of our podcast probably know my point by now.
Yeah. No, I think. I don't know. It's always tempting to mock you for your obsession with all this stuff, but the overriding thing is that currently, as we speak, I think today in the news, they're flying heavy air attacks on many Ukrainian cities, just destroying and killing random citizens. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where to put that into the context of all these random chess debates, like who can play in Paralympics under what flag, but it's so disgusting and horrible. And a bridge was burning, you crossed the line, so we'll randomly kill more civilians on your territory. I mean, it's so appalling. And sometimes we get a little, or I can mainly say it for myself, you're trying to follow the news of the war and the atrocities that are happening there. But with time passing, it's hard to keep up the attention. But once in a while, we should remind ourselves that people are very much still being killed and livelihoods being destroyed on a daily basis all over the Ukraine. Sorry, I'm not sure what this is to do with.
No, it's reasonable. I mean, but also, I mean, this is a chat podcast. We're not. I'm not stating this is the most important thing at all. Follow my wife on Twitter. She's dealing with serious matters. I mean. I fully agree with you. It's mainly because that things are actually as they are in the world. I would rather have that we showed the signal of that. We think that things are like that in the world, so we are not gonna ease in sanctions. We're gonna make them worse. But I agree with you that it's probably Anyway, that's ending it on a sad note. But let's hope it improves in the long run.
That ends today's Chicken Chess Club episode. Thank you so much for listening. We might be back next week.
Goodbye.
See you then.